everyone. So it has been a very, very long time since I have done any kind of video, and some things have been happening and life has kind of been moving forward, and so I wanted to do a quick little update on kind of what's going on. So I'm not going to really focus on what's going on with Eric. I will perhaps make another video at some point, I don't know when, about his treatment and how he's doing and stuff. He's doing okay, but we're dealing definitely with some kind of complications and stuff with his treatment. But I want to kind of focus a little bit more on life in general and specifically on our TTC plans. So I've done a couple of videos in the past about our TTC stuff, and that I don't think I have done a video since we kind of actually started taking steps to move forward with that. But we have now at this point started to move forward with that. So that's pretty exciting. So we went, so basically a little bit of background. If you're not familiar with our story and what's going on with us as a family and all of that, my husband Eric was diagnosed last April with leukemia, ALL, which is acute lymphocytic. Wow, I should know the name of it. Acute lymphocytic leukemia. And he has been in treatment with chemotherapy since then, and is now at this point officially in maintenance treatment, and his treatment will end at the end of next May 2016. So and we have a son, Lex, who is almost 2.5, and is just crazy and great and all of that, and we want to have more kids. So when he was diagnosed, we already kind of had the plan that we wanted another kid probably when Lex was 2.5-ish, 2.5, 3, something like that, like around now or a little bit later. And so when he was diagnosed, there was a chance that the treatment, and they didn't yet know what his treatment was going to be, that his treatment could cause fertility issues for him. So basically all of his treatment would wipe out his sperm count and it wouldn't come back, which is a risk. Fortunately, with the treatment that he's on, it is a very low risk, but because there was a risk, and because we didn't know yet what treatment he was going to be on, and some other treatments could have had a much higher chance of causing that, we opted to bank sperm at that point. So, did that. So that has been frozen for the last almost 1.5 years, waiting for the time when we are ready to use it, if we need to use it. So we have gone through, the last year, almost 1.5 years of treatment, and went back and forth as to whether or not we wanted to just wait until he was done with treatment and then try to conceive naturally, with no guarantee that that would actually happen, and we might still have to go the route of using fertility treatments and either having an IUI or an IVF. So we had considered that, and then I pretty much decided that I really don't want to wait that long, and because there is no guarantee that that will happen naturally, I just want to kind of go forward with whatever we need to do to use the sperm that we have banked and get pregnant now or soon. So I went ahead and made an appointment with the reproductive endocrinologist and saw her last Friday. So today's Friday, so it was a week ago. And it was a really good appointment. I really liked her, since it is pretty straightforward that we have male factor infertility is like what they're calling it. Even though normally under normal circumstances, we don't have any fertility issues. We had no issue conceiving our son, and hopefully once Eric is done with treatment, things will return to normal within about 1 year, but it could take up to 1 year, but hopefully eventually it'll return to normal. But for right now, we have male factor infertility. So we have 4 vials of sperm banked. 2 have relatively high numbers and 2 have a little bit lower, but they're still a good number. And because of what we have banked, and because of the fact that I don't have any known fertility issues, the RE, the reproductive endocrinologist, was okay supporting our preference, our choice to go forward first with an IUI. rather than jumping right into doing IVF, because IVF is a lot more involved, and it would be a lot harder on me, and I would have to go through a lot of hormonal treatments and then go through the egg retrieval, and it's just a lot more. And I'm hoping to be able to keep this as low intervention as possible. I mean, ideally I would prefer to not have any intervention, but that right now, if we want to get pregnant right now, is not an option. So she's supportive of that and moving forward with that. So I had some blood work drawn that day at the hospital. And then luckily I was due to start my next cycle the next day. And if you're familiar with like going through fertility testing and stuff, like things have to be done on very particular days of your cycle or very particular windows in your cycle. So I needed to go and have more blood work done on cycle day 3, which ended up being this Monday. So I went and had that done. And then between cycle day, so originally they wanted to do a test called an HSG between cycle days 5 and 12. But that involves injecting dye into your uterus and seeing how it travels through your fallopian tubes and making sure that that's all open and everything. And I have a history of having had an anaphylactic allergic reaction to contrast dye. So because of that, the doctor opted to order a slightly different test that shows the same thing but does not involve dye. So the test that I had done was a sonohysterography with this new thing called Hycosy. It's HYCOSY. And I'm not sure, it must stand for something, but I'm not sure what it stands for. So basically, I had this done this morning. And basically it involves first an ultrasound, over the belly ultrasound, and then an internal ultrasound to look at the uterus and make sure that looks great and everything. Apparently I have a beautiful uterus and it's like perfectly shaped, and they were very positive about it. And then a little catheter is inserted through the cervix up. So then a little catheter is inserted through the cervix up into the uterus, and they put the internal ultrasound back in and like inflate a little balloon so that it keeps the fluid that they're going to inject inside the uterus and doesn't come back out. And then they put some fluid to kind of expand the uterus and then send some like little air bubbles through that they can track through the fallopian tubes. So it was very quick, very easy, relatively painless. Like there was a few little kind of like, ooh, that's a little bit crampy, ooh, that feels a little funny kind of stuff, but really overall didn't feel much of anything. I have a little bit of kind of crampiness and stuff now. So this was done about 3.5 hours ago or so. And I also have, like they said that I might feel, because they put air in, I might feel like up in my shoulders and stuff, like some pain from that, which I have felt a little bit in my shoulders. And right now I'm feeling like just a little bit, excuse me, a little bit of like a weird kind of cramp feeling in my chest, but it really was not bad at all. The worst part was really the anticipation of it and being nervous about it and like not really knowing for sure how it was going to be and how it was going to feel, and I had to drive an hour each way to go have it done. So thankfully Eric was able to take care of Lex this morning, and that went relatively well with some minor bumps and stuff, but they both survived. And so I got a couple of hours in the car to listen to podcasts, and that was fine. I mean, I don't really mind driving, so it was not a big deal. It was more that it's hard to be confident that things will go okay at home, and I also was pretty anxious and nervous about the actual test. But it went fine, and they actually told me that it is probably easier and less painful than the HSG, because the dye that they put in with the HSG is kind of thick, and this is just, for this test, it's just saline and then air bubbles. So it was really not bad. So that was this morning, and then I go back to see the RE in 3 weeks or something like that. I saw her last week, and then we made an appointment for about a month out. So I think probably in about 3 weeks or maybe a little bit more, I go back to see her and go over the test results and everything, and then hopefully move forward. So the plan, assuming that everything comes out looking good, is to go forward with an IUI and use one of the vials that has the higher sperm count. And then if that doesn't work, which I'm hoping that it does, but if it doesn't, then we can discuss what we do next and like whether we want to do another IUI attempt or whether we want to just go to IVF. And they can, they won't know. So like you lose some sperm when you, in the process of like thawing it out and cleaning it and doing all of that stuff. So they won't know for sure how much that they will lose in our case until they have thawed one out and done that. So I feel like doing an IUI attempt will also give us kind of an idea of that rather than thawing out some to do IVF and maybe not having it conserve as much. So basically, she said that like with IVF, they would usually like if you don't have an issue with the like limited amount of sperm like we do, they would just like take a vial and kind of, she described it as just like dumping it on the egg or the eggs, I guess. And they might do like 2 vials worth to increase the likelihood that it works and stuff. But because we have a limited amount, they can like scrape some before they thaw it out. They can like scrape some off so that it basically conserves the vial. It conserves the sperm so that they're not having to use as much. And then they would like clean it and everything and then take a sperm and like inject it into the egg. So I'm hoping that we don't have to go that route, but if we do, then okay. But I'm really hopeful and kind of positive about the IUI hopefully working. The doctor also said that I would have the option of taking hormones if I wanted to, but we'll talk more about that in my next appointment. And I am also going to see a naturopathic doctor who specializes in fertility stuff. So I have an appointment with her in 2 weeks, I believe. And I'm hoping that she will also have some ideas of things that we can do to kind of boost the chances of this working, and also potentially to help with, on Eric's side of things, like help things come back either now or when he's done with treatment or whatever. Eric is also going to have a semen analysis done to see kind of where we're at right now, and so that we'll have kind of a better idea of what to expect and how fast to expect things to come back and all of that kind of stuff. So that's like where we are in our TTC journey. It's exciting that we're finally taking the steps forward, and like it is possible that in a couple of months I could be pregnant. And that's just really exciting to kind of finally be in that place and feel like we can handle being in that place, and things in other areas of our life are calm enough that we can do that. So that is where we're at. I will update more on kind of other life stuff and Eric's treatment and all of that in a separate video at some point. But we are actually going to be leaving tomorrow to go on vacation for a week, so I probably won't be doing another video until we get back. But I want